Obviously, the big story on Saturday night was Manchester City's victory over Newcastle United, Kevin. I thought Manchester City actually did a professional job here because Newcastle played really well, especially in the second half, but just didn't have that cutting edge.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think they really had to see it out professionally. But what was interesting about this was just the extent to which Nico O'Reilly dominated the game, because he gets the 2 goals for City, but he also had numerous other runs. His intelligence on and off the ball is phenomenal for a player of his age. And we know this, that Pep Guardiola, he doesn't just throw appearances at people. You have to earn them. And he's judging you in every game, every week, every training session. And we've seen players, young players who've had runs in the team before and have kind of disappeared a bit. But I think O'Reilly is there to stay. What an incredible performance from him. I was surprised, actually, how well Newcastle did, given they'd got all the way to Baku. They put so much intensity into that performance against Karabakh, especially in the first half. I was surprised that they were able to last the pace with City, because I thought they did, had the same number of shots on target, only a couple of shots fewer over the piece. So I thought it was a good performance from them.
And bearing in mind, they only made one change to the starting 11 from that game in Baku as well, which was quite impressive. Actually, I spoke to Eddie Howe after the game, and he was saying actually he's so disappointed because it was one of those matches where you probably played the best you've ever played at the Etihad. You've come away with nothing, as is usual for Newcastle. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it, to think they've never won in the Premier League at the Etihad Stadium. It's absolutely crazy. It's the longest winning run
Winless.
winning run for one team against another. So it's 17 straight Premier League wins at the Etihad Stadium for Manchester City. But should they have had a goal? You texted me this morning. You said, Sam, I need to get into the FA Sam brain. Should Dan Burn have a penalty? Well, the answer, let me tell you at the beginning, is no. He shouldn't have had a penalty. But Newcastle might have been a little bit hard done by with a couple of decisions. Eddie Howe certainly thought so.
Yeah, I mean, just to clear up the Dan Burn one, because it was put to Eddie in his press conference that, according to the rule book, if you are pushed into an offside position, then it should be a penalty, basically, if it happens in the penalty area. However, the asterisk to that rule is that the ball has to be active and in play. And obviously, because it was a free kick, it was a dead ball situation, the ball was not active, so the law was applied correctly. I mean, even Eddie looked a little bit bamboozled when he was asked the question in his press conference afterwards.
Yeah, so what they could have done was maybe take the free kick again. That would probably have been in the spirit of the law. But because of the fact that it went to VAR, et cetera, it probably wasn't an option for the referee. The right decision was probably made. But it did feel a little bit sort of anti-football, really, that Ruben Dias has got away with pushing him into an offside position. He's scored, and obviously, it isn't going to count because of that. I thought they also could have been in a situation where Bernardo Silva might have been sent off for a second yellow card. Kevin Hatchard, what did you make of that?
Yeah, I could have seen that. He jumps recklessly into his opponent, doesn't he? And there's no attempt really to play the ball. This is Bernardo ball. He is a wonderful, wonderful footballer, but he knows the dark arts inside out, that fella. And when Pep Guardiola talks about him being, maybe the most intelligent player he's worked with or one of the best he's ever worked with, make no mistake, that is part of it. So, yeah, I think he absolutely could have got another booking for that. I thought it was a poor challenge, but there are lots of those over the course of a season from Bernardo Silva that he somehow manages to get away with it. Maybe it's because he's short in stature and referees let him off.
You get away with quite a lot, actually, if you just fly under the radar and just, and you're a little bit smaller than everybody else. Isn't that true?
I wouldn't know.
I thought, again, it was a really good game. Bernardo Silva, one of many people who could have been booked. I mean, Joel Linton came on and went around thrashing everybody for about 20 minutes as well, but it was good to see that he was back in the team. Look, I do think that Nick Pope probably could have done a little bit better with that first goal. I don't know what you think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a well-struck shot from Nico O'Reilly, and I echo what Kev said about how good he was. It's a bit of a dilemma, actually, isn't it, now for Thomas Tuchel? Because when he started to call him up, he was calling him up as a left-back.
Yeah.
And now he's playing in his actual position, which is midfield, which is where England have got a lot of players.
Well, no, you say England have got a lot of players. It's where England have been looking for someone to be able to play. And I think it is worth pointing out here that actually Manchester City look a little bit more sturdy, imperious. They look more like Manchester City as opposed to sort of like a shadow of the club that they were for the last 12 months. Mainly because although Rodri has improved, and I think he's playing well, he's got legs around him. Nico O'Reilly provides those legs in order to protect him a little bit because he can't cover the ground like he used to. So you need people around him. So what does Thomas Tuchel do? Does he call him up as a midfield player? Because, they've been searching for one. They've got Elliot Anderson. They had Adam Wharton. Everyone said, oh, actually, we could use one of those two. Maybe Nico O'Reilly plays in that position.
Probably on form. If you listen to Crystal Palace fans, then Nico O'Reilly is ahead of Adam Wharton at this moment in time. So it will be interesting if we get to March and he's still playing well, whether he is in the squad and in what position. But to answer your question, yes, I think Nick Pope will be disappointed to be beaten from that distance at his near post effectively. Having got across there, I think he should have saved it.
Okay, the title race obviously impacted by what happened on Saturday night. Manchester City winning. They look like they're in great form. Then Arsenal do what they do on Sunday, which was a really good performance away from home. And all of a sudden, we're back to where we were before the weekend. So Arsenal have a 5-point lead here. They look as if they're going to... I think the two of them are going to go head-to-head now over the course of the season. Obviously, City have a game in hand. That big meeting in April between the two, absolutely pivotal. But what's fascinating for me is the way the managers conduct themselves. Arteta talking about, beautiful football after the game. The beauty of football is that you can always answer your critics just days after you've slipped up. And then Pep Guardiola talking to us afterwards, Kev, and saying, this is where the best part of the season starts.
Yes, that leapt out to me as well, actually, that mention of it being the best part of the season. And he's right, because he knows how to pace the season. He's done it time and time again. And what you're looking for is when you get to March, are you in position? And the answer is yes. They're in that League Cup final, still in the FA Cup, still got an ability to go deep in the Champions League. And Arsenal have all the pressure on them because Arsenal have had this big lead, but all of that pressure is on them because they haven't been able to win it under Arteta. Guardiola's got course and distance. He knows how to do this. His players know how to do this. I think you're right. I think they look a little less vulnerable in transition, which was a big problem for them. You look at the defeat against Werder Glimt, that really underlined that in the Champions League, those problems in transition against players who move the ball really quickly. But I think he's been tweaking things all the way, Guardiola. And, even though Haaland maybe hasn't been as devastating in terms of the volume of goal scoring, I think he's adding bits to his game all the time. So I still think City are very much in this, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they go on to win it. Let's not forget, because of that slip-up at Wolves, if City win every game now, including that Arsenal one, they win the league.
Yeah, but Erling Haaland can't be annoying though, right? Okay, he can't start hogging the headlines for everything. He scores a lot of goals. He started to assist goals. He was brilliant defensively on Saturday. Don't start being annoying.
I've got to say, the cross for the second goal was exceptional for a player who, I've said in the past, he's not necessarily the most technically gifted. He's a brutal goal scorer.
You called him a donkey once.
I did call him,
which is a ridiculous thing to say.
Wow, what a luxury donkey that is, man alive.
That is your top class donkey. You won't find a finer one anywhere in the world.
I don't know. I found one.
Best donkey money can buy. Absolutely.
But you know what they've got now, City? They've got this spine, haven't they? With Donnarumma, who made a brilliant save towards the end.
Yeah, from Harvey Barnes to the volley at the end.
Which went a little bit under the radar. So they've got Donnarumma, who's a giant in goal. They've got Mark Gay now coming in to shore up that defence. They've got Rodri, who is able to play more minutes now in midfield. Nico O'Reilly going in there with, and they've got Erling Haaland at the top end of the piece. That is a strong spine of a title challenging team. And Semenyo as well,
really well, yeah. I mean, but obviously we didn't mention during that conversation Phil Foden, who was dropped from the starting lineup in the game against Newcastle. I just wonder what's going to happen with him, because if he can't get in the Manchester City team, it's going to be difficult to get into the England squad.